Hello, everybody. I'm so excited to be back for season 2 of Talking Books with Tanisha. My name is Tanisha Brandon Felder, and I am a lover of books and a lover of reading. And one of my favorite things to do is to talk to people about books. What's even more exciting is to talk to people who wrote the books about the books they wrote. So today is the season 2 premiere. I'm so excited because we have a really special guest with us. I want to encourage you to like this channel and also to subscribe to the channel and share it with your friends. I think you'll be really excited and really interested in what our author is going to share today. I'd like to introduce you to Allison Mariella Desir, the author of Running While Black. Hi, Allison.
Hello, hello. Great to be here on this season premiere.
I'm glad too. This is not our first time talking about your book. We had a chance to do a really special book event at Elliott Bookstore in October.
Yes.
And your space was packed. So many people were in there. I think you had some running community people that were in there, just some really great followers who just love the work that you're doing that were in there. And it was such an honor to talk to you about your book then. And I was so excited that you agreed to talk to me about your book now.
Yeah, that was, I have to say, every event I host, I still wonder if anybody's going to show up. And that event, people showed up and showed out. And it was a really great conversation.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
So I have 3 questions for you today. We're going to start off with why this book, Running While Black, and why now?
Great question. And I'm going to start by saying that I am surprised that there actually is no other book like this out there. So backtrack, after the murder of Ahmaud Arbery, I started thinking about running and what it meant to me and how it had saved and transformed my life, but how running also comes with an additional set of risks when you're a Black body in this world, right? At the same time, I had given birth to my son in July of the previous year. So I started to think about how, wow, I had birthed a Black boy who could one day be Ahmaud Arbery. And as a mother, any mothers or parents, caregivers listening, you know that not only do we want to do everything we can for our child in the home, we also want to do whatever we can in the world to make sure that they have an opportunity to live full lives. So I thought, well, one thing that I can do is tell my story. I can share just how powerful it is to run and connect with your mental and physical health, but also that the sport wasn't built with us in mind. Just like the country was not built with us in mind, the sport perpetuates this idea that all you need are running shoes, when in truth, you need psychological safety, physical safety, access to safe streets, access to clean air, access to freedom of movement, things that are a commodity when you're a marginalized body. So, like I said, that the murder of Ahmaud Arbery really is what prompted me to write this book. But then I was again shocked at how few books there are written by Black people around running, then even fewer by Black women, and then there's a complete absence of storytelling around the intersection of race and running. So I was like, well, damn, I gotta write it. I'm one of those people that if it doesn't exist, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, I'm so glad you wrote it. I mean, for many reasons, because first I feel like the part that I didn't share is that you have a full timeline.
Yes.
I love the timeline because what you want to describe the timeline to us?
Yes, actually, and I know that's one of your questions, but the timeline is my favorite part of the book. So what's my favorite part of the book? The timeline. And I'm at heart a history nerd, and I have to credit my parents, particularly my father, for instilling that in me. My mother is an anthropologist, so absolutely my mother was a part of this too, but my father was sort of the one who was always grilling me about things and who instilled in me from a very young age that the Haitian Revolution was the single most important event in history, right? And I will not debate that fact. But so as I started thinking about this book and what it means to run, I started thinking about the so-called running boom, right? If you're familiar with running, a lot of people talk about the running boom as being this set of events that led to running taking off in the United States. And it starts with this story of Bill Bowerman in 1963 putting out a call in Eugene, Oregon for folks to start running with him. And I started thinking about the dates. I started thinking about 1963, and I wondered, well, what were Black people doing in 1963?
Yeah.
And in 1963, we were fighting for the right to walk in the front door, for the right to eat at a kitchen counter. We didn't have the right to vote. We didn't have really the right to exist as full human beings. Mm-hmm. And so I started thinking about, what if I put together a timeline that juxtaposes these moments in running history with what it is with Black people's reality, what it is to live in this country, so that it can be clear that we never had access to what you need to really run.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, it's amazing how much history you give us by reading this book. And even for those of us who are not runners, I feel like there was such a level of understanding about the access points you talk about, the history. I mean, the part you say someone's like organizing a running kind of campaign and you can't even walk in the front door of a building. Like exactly. The dichotomy of that is just like ridiculous. I think it also, because you also do a piece where you bring it very much into the contemporary time and make it very local and immediate for us. And there's still a lot of work to do, right?
Exactly. That's another piece that I wanted people to realize. I wanted them to have the full historical context, but also realize that racism and white supremacy did not end with Martin Luther King, right? That right now I have there's one date about the recognition of what is it? Where is it? Here in March 2022, after a century of trying, lynching is made a federal hate crime for the first time. The bill is named after Emmett Till. This is March 2022, right? So, and we know the murder of Ahmaud Arbery and just the statistics about the disparities between Black and white folks. Like, this is not the past. This is our lived experience. So we've got work to do.
Yeah. You know, I didn't share this story last time, but my daughter started running track last year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it was really exciting for us, but she had never ran track. And I think you talk about like the shoes, like the access to a sidewalk, you know, safe spaces or whatever. Well, she didn't have the right shoes, Allison. It was her first race. And you know what happens? Like, injury right away. And it's one of those things I think you kind of take for granted, just like put on some shoes, you'll be fine, just go. But like the education behind like which type, right? And like, where do you get them and all those things? Like, to me, that's symbolic.
And I mean, and nutrition, right? Like, I'm sure that your daughter is well fed, but is she being fed to perform, right? And these are the little things that are not so little that make the difference between having the stamina, having a good time, or deciding I never want to do this thing again. And we know that in particular, we lose girls, particularly Black girls, to sport in the middle and high school age because of things like that, or feeling like you don't belong, or that, you know, changes in your body will prevent you from continuing, right? And we need our children to stay in the sport because it changes your life.
Yeah. Is your son running yet?
Oh my God, is he? So my son, every morning he says, I want to go running. And he's moving very slowly, but he is running. And it's the sweetest thing. We never wanted to push him to that, but it's just in this house, it's in the air.
All right, we're ready for our last question, which is, I want to know what you're currently either reading or writing or prepping for. Like, what's happening for you? What's coming up?
So I am reading, 3 books, always, right? So I read, recently I read Good for a Girl by Lauren Fleshman, which is an amazing book that is critical of the running industry from the perspective of women's sports. It recognizes the way that the industry was not built for women, including, of course, Black women. So I'll be in conversation with her next month at Elliott Bay Books. So I'm reading and rereading. I'm also reading this book called Essential Labor. And I forget the author's name, but it is a book that really talks about mothering as social justice and the way that this country and the world really fails mothers and caregivers. And so that's getting me all riled up. And then the final book, which again, I don't remember the name of it, but it is all about anti-Black racism in the Latino community. So I identify as Afro-Latinx. I'm half Colombian, half Haitian, born in the United States. And what I've found throughout my life is that I've not been received as quote unquote Black enough, and I've not been received as Latinx enough. And but there's also this fallacy in the Latinx community that, well, we can't be racist because we are all these different complexions, right? So this book is finally one that is addressing the anti-Blackness within the community and proposing how we can address it. So all over the place. Does anybody actually read one book at a time?
That's not anymore. There's too many books to read. Yeah. I love this. This is amazing. I'm so happy that I had a chance to talk to you about your book.
Same here.
Yeah, keep us updated on what else is coming up for you. Feel free to share this out. Everyone who's watching, thank you so much for being here today and listening to the conversation between Allison and I. Get Running While Black if you haven't already. It's amazing.
Yes, buy the book. And Tanisha, I look forward to many more opportunities to chat and work with you.
Same here.